Imagine a world deep within the dense, suffocating emerald embrace of the Central American jungle, where stone giants, the ancient, towering pyramids, rise above the canopy to kiss the clouds, and vast cities that once housed millions of souls now sleep in eternal, suffocating silence. This was the world of the Maya, an empire of pure human genius, a civilization that mapped the movements of the stars with terrifying precision long before the rest of the world even understood the basic laws of the cosmos. They were master mathematicians, visionary architects, and stargazing astronomers, all living in perfect rhythmic harmony with the wild. Yet, at the very peak of their unparalleled glory, when their power seemed absolute, something dark began to stir. A cold, suffocating shadow fell across their flourishing, sun-drenched lands. And the people, the creators of this magnificent, golden civilization, simply vanished. Historians have debated for centuries what really happened. Was it a brutal, ancient war that turned the blue sky into an endless, choking shroud of ash? Was it a divine, cosmic curse sent by angry, forgotten gods as a final punishment for human pride? Or was the truth far more tragic and far more human than we dared to imagine? Did they, unknowingly, trigger their own ultimate, inevitable demise through their own desperate actions? Today, we embark on an epic journey deep into the echoes of the past to finally uncover the hidden, buried truth behind the greatest mystery of human history. We will strip away the myths and the romantic legends of old and look directly at the cold, hard, unyielding facts carved into the crumbling stone of their forgotten temples. This is not just another history lesson. This is the terrifying story of the Maya, the brilliant, tragic architects of the apocalypse. How did they do it? How did they build massive, soaring cities deep in the heart of the unforgiving, dense jungle, without metal tools, without beasts of burden, and without the wheel? This is the first true marvel of the Maya. Their cities were not just clusters of simple huts. They were complex, interconnected systems of stone and mortar. Take, for example, the great cities of Tikal or Calakmul. These sprawling urban centers were built with millions of limestone blocks, each quarried and shaped by hand, using only stone chisels. Think about the sheer, exhausting scale of the labor. The Maya didn't just move rocks. They moved entire mountains. They leveled massive, uneven areas of land to create perfect, wide-open plazas, specifically aligned with the rising sun. And then, there was the water. The jungle has a dark secret. It doesn't give water easily. During the long, punishing dry season, the Maya faced the terrifying prospect of thirst. But they didn't just wait for rain. They built giant, innovative reservoirs. They engineered sophisticated filtration systems using sand and natural zeolite that kept their drinking water pure for months at a time. It was an engineering feat that rivaled the greatest civilizations of ancient Rome or Greece. They weren't just living in the jungle. They were actively taming it. They transformed a wild, chaotic landscape into a stunning urban masterpiece. But their architecture served a higher purpose than just housing the living. The pyramids weren't just monuments to their powerful kings. They were complex, astronomical calculators, carved in stone. Every angle, every steep stairway, and every dark chamber was meticulously aligned with the movements of Venus, the moon, and the sun. They were literally building a bridge between Earth and the cosmos. This was not an accident. It was a master plan, a vision of a society that sought to understand its place within the infinite, silent clockwork of the universe. But they didn't just understand the earth beneath their feet. They mastered the one thing that slips through our fingers, the one silent, crushing force that governs our entire existence: time itself. The Maya calendar was never a mere tool for counting days, harvests, or changing seasons. It was a complex, breathing, and living web of overlapping cycles, a synchronized, infinite dance of celestial gears, meticulously calibrated to the harmony of the heavens. They didn't just observe the sky like we do. They mapped the very heartbeat of the cosmos, linking the fleeting, fragile life of the mortal world to the cold, eternal, and repeating rhythms of the stars. Their precision was truly terrifying in its sheer mathematical accuracy. By calculating the intricate, erratic movements of Venus with uncanny, almost impossible perfection, and predicting the shadow of solar eclipses centuries before they ever darkened. The sun, they achieved a level of mastery that defies everything we know about their age. It is a staggering, monumental, intellectual achievement, an ancient, complex code etched in stone and sky, a legacy that still baffles, humbles, and challenges the brightest, most advanced minds of modern astronomy today. Imagine them standing atop their towering limestone pyramids in the dead of night, the jungle breathing around them, the air thick with humidity and silence, with nothing but the naked eye and absolute, unwavering, generational devotion. They traced the paths of light that no one else dared to follow. They watched the stars shift, recording the migration of the galaxies as if it were a written language. How did they see so far through the heavy, suffocating veil of time? How did they translate the language of the heavens into stone carvings that endure for millennia? They saw time as a spiral, not a straight line, a repeating loop of creation and decay, and every sunset was a lesson in the fragility of power, pressed upon them as they carved their secrets into the foundation of the world. If they reached out and grasped the delicate, invisible threads of the future, were they merely scientists of the stars, recording the mechanics of the universe? Or were they searching for a message, a warning, a prophecy, or a truth, hidden deep within the light of the galaxy itself? Yet, For all their staggering brilliance, the empire did not hold its ground forever. The great stone cities, once vibrant with the pulse of the heavens, were slowly swallowed by the relentless, emerald, and suffocating hunger of the deep jungle. It wasn't a sudden end. It was a slow, agonizing reclamation by the earth itself. The people who once mastered the complex celestial gears of the cosmos simply vanished into the thick mist of history. They left behind only silent, towering monoliths, crumbling plazas, and cryptic, weather-worn glyphs, a sprawling, scattered, and maddening puzzle that continues to defy our most advanced modern logic. We look at their haunting ruins today, and we see something much deeper than just ancient architecture. We see the remnants of a civilization that dared to touch the infinite, and then seemingly chose to step back into the shadows. Was it a collapse driven by the earth itself, drought, famine, or the exhaustion of the land? Or was it a deliberate retreat into the unknown? A collective turning away from a path that had reached its natural limit? It is a haunting, hollow void in the written records of humanity, a chapter torn out of the fabric of time, leaving us to piece together the shattered narrative from the silent shards of history. Now we stand in their ancient footsteps, surrounded by the heavy, lingering, and almost tangible echoes of a lost wisdom. We have all the technology in the world at our fingertips: satellites scanning the globe, supercomputers simulating galaxies, and probes drifting in deep space. Yet, in the face of their mystery, we are still merely chasing the faint, lingering shadows they left on the temple walls. Could it be that we haven't actually advanced as far as we think, but are merely running in circles? Or is it possible that the Maya were not just observing the stars from below, like passive students of the night, but were recording a map, a detailed guide, or a cryptic countdown to something we are only now beginning to notice? Perhaps they saw something that we, with all our machines, are still blind to. The jungle holds its secrets tight, guarding them beneath layers of moss and centuries of silence. But the clock keeps ticking, steady and rhythmic, just as they calculated it would. The past is not dead, it is waiting, and as we dig deeper into the earth, we realize that the questions they left behind are the very same questions we are afraid to ask ourselves today. They knew something that we have fought for centuries to ignore. It wasn't just raw math, and it wasn't just basic astronomy. It was a deep, unsettling, and intimate connection to the cycles of the universe. Consider their long count calendar, a system so incredibly vast, so precise that it mapped time in grand eras spanning thousands of years. Why would a civilization isolated in the heart of a dense, suffocating jungle need to track the alignment of stars that appear only once in an age? They weren't just recording the past. They were measuring the heartbeat of existence itself, pulsing in the dark. There is a growing theory that their temples were not merely centers of worship or tomb monuments for kings, but physical, stone-carved anchors, specifically engineered to resonate with the exact frequencies they observed in the celestial vault. When the planets aligned, when the heavens shifted into place, these structures were designed to channel that immense, unseen celestial energy, effectively creating a bridge between the mortal, limited human mind and the perfect order of the cosmic machine. But the most terrifying, most chilling aspect is the sheer, undeniable precision of their warnings. They spoke of cycles of destruction and rebirth, not as poetic myths, but as rigid, mathematical certainties etched into the fabric of time. We have spent decades, generations, even trying to dismiss these as nothing more than primitive superstitions of a lost people. But as our own modern instruments, our super telescopes, and our deep space probes peer further into the erratic movements of our galaxy, we are beginning to realize that the Maya were not hallucinating. They were pointing at something very, very real. Perhaps we call them prophecies, only because we lack the sophisticated language to call them what they actually were. Advanced, multi-generational calculations. The patterns they identified are repeating right before our eyes. The cycles they feared are accelerating, tightening like a noose. Is it possible that the end they spoke of was never a singular, cataclysmic moment of collapse, but a threshold, a grand, cosmic gate that humanity was always destined to pass through? Whether we were ready to face the truth or not, the light they followed is still there, burning in the cold, unyielding silence of the night, waiting for us to finally stop. Looking at the dirt beneath our feet, and look up at the truth they left behind. They didn't just study the stars, they communicated with them. And now, as we stand on the edge of our own era, one has to wonder, did they leave this map to warn us or to guide us? As we reach the final edge of our journey, we are forced to confront a deeply humbling and unsettling truth. We often pride ourselves on being the masters of this world, the absolute pinnacle of human history and technological achievement. But the Maya stand as a silent, stone testament to the reality that we are. Merely one brief heartbeat in a cosmic timeline that stretches far beyond our limited comprehension or reach. They weren't primitive, people lost in the dark of the jungle. They were the master architects of a grand vision, a vision we are only now, centuries later, beginning to slowly decode. Their towering temples were never just graves for long-dead kings. They were monumental antennas, precision-tuned to the resonance of the universe. Their complex calendar was not just a tool for counting harvests. It was a blueprint, a witness to a civilization that understood the deep, terrifying, and recurring mechanics of existence itself. And their silence, the haunting, absolute silence they left behind, within the reclaiming vines of the ruins, is perhaps the loudest message ever left for humanity. We stand today in the light of our own age, with supercomputers in our pockets and rockets pushing against the vacuum of space. Yet we still stand before their work with a profound, almost childlike sense of awe. Why? Because they achieved what we are still frantically searching for: a true, harmonious place within the cold machinery of the cosmic order. They looked at the sky and saw a mirror of home. We look at the sky and see only a frontier to be conquered and mapped. Perhaps that fundamental shift in perception is the real lesson we have failed to learn. The Maya did not disappear into nothingness. They shifted. They evolved. They transcended. They stand as a permanent reminder that time is not a linear string that snaps, but an infinite wheel that turns, breaks, and resets. We are living, breathing, and struggling in the shadow of their ancient wisdom, whether we possess the courage to acknowledge it or not. The jungle may have claimed their cities, but it could never claim the sheer brilliance of their insight. The very stars they mapped with such obsession are the same stars guiding us through our own darkness tonight. So, the next time you step outside and look up at the infinite, obsidian depth of the night sky, realize this: you are not merely gazing at cold, distant, dead lights. You are looking at the exact same map they followed. The cycle is continuing. The truth is still burning. The clock is still running. And the ultimate question remains, hanging in the silence of the stars. When the next inevitable turn of the cosmic wheel comes, will we be ready to understand the truth they already knew? Or will we, like those before us, be swallowed by the same silence? The answer has always been there, etched into the foundation of the world. We don't need new technology. We just need to stop, look up, and finally listen.